Lagos, Nigeria, home to over 20 million people and growing faster than almost any other city in the world. It's Africa's commercial hub, largest city of culture, technology and finance, but centuries ago this megacity was just a small fishing village unknown to the rest of the world. Today we'll take you through a fascinating story of Lagos from its humble beginnings to its rise as a global metropolis. Stick around to the end where we'll explore the future of Lagos and what experts predict will happen by 2050. Long before skyscrapers and bustling streets, Lagos is home to the Awori people, a subgroup Yoruba. The name Iko, which means war camp in Yoruba, is believed to have been given to the area by a Benin warrior by the name of Prince Edu, who was sent by the Eobu of Benin in the 15th century to establish control. The Awori people lived peacefully in small settlements along the lagoon, relying on fishing, salt making, and trade with nearby communities. The lagoon also provided abundant fish, while surrounding land supported farming. But it was Lagos' strategic location right on the Atlantic coast that would soon attract foreign interest. This began in 1472 when Portuguese explorers arrived on the coast and named the area Lagos after a port city in southern Portugal. At first, their contact with locals was mostly trade-based. They also exchanged goods like textiles, breads, firearms, spices, ivory and palm oil, but soon a darker chapter in Lagos history began, the transatlantic slave trade. By the 17th century, Lagos had become a major hub for the slave trade. European traders, in partnership with local rulers, transported thousands of enslaved people to the Americas to work on plantations. At the time, Lagos was under the control of the powerful kingdom of Benin. The King Oba of Benin controlled most of the trade in the region, and Lagos became an important point for exporting slave trade victims. By the early 19th century, the British had begun efforts to end the transatlantic slave trade, but Lagos, still a major slaving centre, resisted British influence. In 1851, the British attacked Lagos under the pretense of aiding slave trade and protecting trade interests. After a fierce battle, the British forces deposed King Kosuko and installed his rival Eteoki as a new ruler, one who was much more cooperative with British interest. 10 years later, in 1861, Lagos was officially annexed as a British colony. Under colonial rule, Lagos saw significant changes. The British built roads, railways and schools. They established a Western-style governance and expanded trade in palm oil and other commodities. But colonial rule wasn't just about development. It also meant economic exploitation, racial segregation and restrictions on Nigerian self-governance. While British rule brought about infrastructure and Western-style governance, it also came with oppression, violence and economic exploitation. The British colonial authorities ruled Lagos and Nigeria with an iron fist, prioritising their interests over those of the local population. And one of the most glaring injustices was the forced displacement of the indigenous Lagosians. The British often seized prime land for government buildings, railways and settlements, pushing locals into overcrowded slums with little infrastructure. One of the darkest aspects of British rule was the brutal suppression of resistance. British government imposed high taxes on Lagosians and strictly controlled trade, ensuring that most of the profits flowed to Britain. When they protested, it was often met with violence. Despite decades of oppression, Lagosians never gave up their fight for justice. By the 1950s, Nigerian nationalists had gained enough momentum for full national independence, and on the 1st of October 1960, Nigeria finally broke free from British rule. Independence, Nigeria named Lagos as its capital city. After independence, Nigeria's economy grew rapidly, and so did Lagos. By the 1970s, fueled by oil revenue, people from all over Nigeria flocked to the city in search of jobs and opportunities, but this rapid growth also led to overcrowding, slums and traffic congestion. With more people arriving daily, the Nigerian government eventually decided to move the capital to Abuja in 1991 to reduce the pressure on Lagos. But Lagos remained and continues to remain the country's economic and cultural heartbeat. Today, Lagos is a city of extremes. It is home to some of Africa's wealthiest individuals, but also some of its largest slums. It's a city where innovation booming, but also a city battling traffic jams, flooding and pollution. Massive projects like Eco Atlantic, a new city built on reclaimed land, is changing the Lagos skyline forever. The Lekki Free Trade Zone booming tech industry is putting Lagos on the global economic map. But challenges remain. such as housing shortages, extreme traffic congestion, and poor infrastructure, continue to slow the government's growth. Experts predict that by 2050, Lagos could have 30 million residents, making it one of the largest cities in the world. The Nigerian government and private sector working on solutions, including expanding public transport, building new infrastructure, and using technology to solve urban problems. But the question remains, will Lagos handle the explosive growth successfully, or will it become a city that's overwhelmed? Lagos has come a long way from a humble fishing village to a thriving megacity. Its story is one of resilience, ambition, and transformation. What do you think the future holds for Lagos? Will it continue to rise, or will its challenges slow it down? Let us know in the comments. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into Lagos history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more insightful content about Africa.